A good romance film is also a good suspense film. A good romance should give you a nervous clench in the stomach as its star-crossed lovers walk the precarious tightrope between will they or won't they. A good romance should have you shouting at the TV screen, "Just ask Tony Leung out already, you crazy wackadoodle, stop being so weird about it." Throughout Chungking Express, there's the recurring theme of transience, of people and their relationship to one another as being in flux, and it's from that transience, that uncertainty, that the film builds tension. It's a tension probably most people have gone through at least once in their life, that tension between love in the ideal as something transformative and long-lasting, and love in the uncertain as something precarious, transitory, and unrequited. In Chungking Express, the bustling sprawl of a pre-handover Hong Kong suggests both a city of vast possibility, but also of anonymized alienation. It's a film about not just romance, but loneliness. Chungking Express is an unusually structured film. It's split into two thematically similar but mostly unrelated stories. Both stories revolve around a police officer getting over a breakup. Both stories see the men getting involved with strange, enigmatic women. Both stories are centered around the same deli in Hong Kong. In part 1 of Chungking Express, Officer 223 has just been dumped by his girlfriend May. Every day he tries getting in touch with May's parents via the phone at the local deli, which just so happens to be staffed by another young woman with the same name. Every day he buys a can of sliced pineapple set to expire on May 1st.
凤梨是阿妹最爱吃的东西，而5月1号是我生日。我告诉我自己，当我买满30罐的时候，他如果还不回来，这段感情就会过期。
The repetition of May, May, May seems to mimic the relentless drumbeat of a broken heart, those nagging memories that just won't quit. It's possible that 1 month out of every year for the rest of this guy's life, he's going to be just a little bit gloomier than all the others. Soon, Officer 223 meets a mysterious woman in a blonde wig, embroiled in a dangerous drug smuggling operation, and what in any other film might wind up a gritty cat-and-mouse game between hard-boiled detective and cunning femme fatale becomes instead a brief sentimental night in a hotel room.
她昨天晚上一定是走了很长的路，像她这么漂亮的女人，高跟鞋应该是要很干净的才对。
Whether it was a good idea or not to do both stories in one film, I'm not sure, because I think it's in the second story that the film really comes alive, and which leaves the most lasting impression. Part 1 is charming and uplifting, and it has its moments, but I think the best thing it does is it lays the thematic runway for Part 2. Part 2 of Chungking Express introduces us to Officer 663 and to Faye. After a brief love affair with a flight attendant, Officer 663 finds himself nursing a broken heart. The flight attendant leaves a letter for him at the deli, along with a set of keys to his apartment, which Faye, who's become infatuated with Officer 663, uses to sneak in when he's not home. At first, she's there just to explore, to see how the man lives, but eventually she begins sprucing the place up, changing his bed sheets, replacing his old dish towel, putting more fish in the fish tank, entering into a sort of covert domestic relationship with the man. The romantic suspense of will they or won't they is made literal in a scene where Faye sneaks around the apartment, trying to avoid getting caught by Officer 663. In Chungking Express is a sort of reverse heist film, where the culprit is giving rather than taking something away, and where the catharsis, that sigh of relief, is in the perpetrator getting caught rather than getting away. Faye sneaking around the apartment perfectly depicts that anxiety, that impulse towards safety in matters of the heart. We, as the audience, want Faye ripped from the safety of unrequited love and out into the real complicated world of romance and broken hearts. In Chungking Express, director Wong Kar-wai shows a real knack for visual storytelling, for taking concepts usually expressed in grand romantic gestures or weepy outpourings of feeling and giving them new and immediate clarity. Observed through the fog of heartbreak, even something like a frayed dish towel or a used bar of soap takes on a tinge of melancholy. Faye covertly replacing the officer's dish towel and his bar of soap says more about love and human connection than You Complete Me or I Wish I Could Quit You ever could. The camera often takes a distant voyeuristic approach, shooting around and through objects in the foreground as if spying on the characters and trying not to get caught. As with a lot of independent films of the 90s, there's a certain raw ambitiousness to the look and style of Chungking Express that seems to have mostly disappeared. The tone of the film is also very much anchored by its choice in music, in the way certain songs are repeated and in different contexts. My personal favorite is a Cantonese rendition of Dreams by the Cranberries, performed by Faye Wong herself, which binds the whole movie together in a nostalgia-tinged bittersweetness. It's in part 2 of Chungking Express that the theme of transience really becomes apparent. At the deli, May is unceremoniously swapped out for the not dissimilar looking Faye. Faye's obsession with California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas signals someone who's already halfway somewhere else. Officer 663 gets involved with a flight attendant, a job which Faye then inherits by the end of the film. Everyone is either coming or going. People behave like nervous animals, prone to being startled away. By the end of the film, however, that tension between the ideal and the unrequited love, between the resolute and the transitory, while never quite resolved, is eased somewhat in the idea that even a brief or uncertain kind of love has its own transformative potential. By the end of Chungking Express, there's no telling whether Faye and Officer 663 are actually going to wind up together or not, only that they're better off trying to figure it out. In conclusion, Chungking Express is a really good movie.